this is Jeannie, and this is Jeannie Goes to the Movies. I have not done a movie review in a while just because I'm not really compelled. I haven't really been excited about a movie for a long time. Actually, since the pandemic happened, and of course, there was Spider-Man, but you know, I, I wasn't really excited about that one as I am with The Flash. And this is my spoiler review of The Flash. I have a non-spoiler review. You can also watch that one. And I just like when I saw the trailer for this movie, The Flash, and saw Michael Keaton as the Batman, um, coming back, playing the role again as Batman. I was just super excited, and I just said to myself, you know what, I'm all in. And there's a Supergirl on top of that. I'm all in. And I really, really enjoyed this movie as a DC super fan. I've literally seen all of the DC movies, Superman, Batman, all iterations of Batman, all, um, the Superman films as well. And, the Henry Cavill one, the Christopher Reeve one, all of that. And I've seen Justice League as well and Aquaman. So all like I'm a huge, huge DC fan. I grew up with the DC films and I just really love this movie, The Flash. It's since this is a spoiler review, so I'm gonna be revealing like plot points and so it surprises and stuff. So if you do not want to be spoiled, just watch my non-spoiler movie review. So this film is for me as a fan is just made me so excited. Like I was so excited, and I was able to get like an advanced screening, but it's the last advanced screening before it actually starts showing in theaters. I think tomorrow there's gonna be like it's not going to go wide tomorrow. It's going to go wide on Friday. And I might most likely rewatch this movie over and over and over again. And I'm going to buy like a copy of this film because it's just one of those films that you're just going to buy it over and over again because it's so reminiscent of the movies in the 80s and the 90s where movies were just watchable. You just watch this film. It's like the Back to the Future, the Superman films, the Batman films. You just watch it over and over and you enjoy that. And I'm not hating on Marvel. I'm also a Marvel fan. Like I've seen all Marvel films. Would you believe it? Even when they started, even before the MCU started, like the bad ones as well. Like, the really like cheesy ones. I even watched that because I'm a huge like comic book fan. I'm a huge pop culture, huge superhero fan as well. But in my core, I'm like a DC fan. Like I'm I started as a DC fan and then Marvel like made more interesting films and then I saw them as well. They're good. But then what Marvel lost is the quality of that watchability. You just don't want to like once you've seen the film, it's like okay, I'm done. You don't want to rewatch it and rewatch it. Unlike the DC films, most DC films, you just want to watch it over and over and over again. So I've seen Superman multiple times. I've seen Man of Steel multiple times. I've seen Justice League multiple times, like all the Batman films, except for the George Clooney one, of course. And we all know why. And they just had that quality where you just want to watch it over and over and over and over again. And The Flash, it has this quality as well. You're just going to watch this over and over again, and it's an instant classic. So, and this is Bacon, by the way. He wants to be he wants to be part of the movie review. Okay. So anyway, he wants to be part. Um it's just an instant classic, so I don't know how it's gonna fare in the box office. Maybe it will do much better overseas, because the people overseas, like the global audiences, I was one of them before I came to the US. They just like good storytelling and like really like huge films. And I think it's going to do well, most likely overseas than domestically, just because there's so much controversy. We all know what happened with regards to the and you can see Bacon Snows there. There's so much controversy with regards to just the whole DCEU thing, and the way that it's rebooting, and certain producers, and even like Ezra Miller, as in his life outside of his acting, he's been accused of doing certain things, and it's really such a shame. But for me, this film, like, if you just look at it as like a film and without all of those things, you're really gonna enjoy it. And I think the global audiences are not really gonna look into behind the scenes or what happened. They're just gonna look at it and enjoy the film as it is. And I would like to tell you that he is a good actor, because I didn't even realize that he was the same actor, like that he's playing two parts, like he's playing his alternate self and of course the original Barry Allen. And it's so seamless the way he acts sometimes that you forget that he is actually the same guy. You think that, oh, he's a different character, this one is a different character, and this one is like a different character too, but it seems that they're played by different actors. That's how good he is. You don't even notice that he's literally playing both characters. And the way that, especially the way him as an actor connects with the core of the film, which is literally, this film is about grief, it's about loss. Like, what if you lose someone that you love? And there was a scene here, and of course this is a spoiler review, the scene where he says goodbye to his mother for the last time. I literally was like, I was tearing up and I was crying and stuff, because it was so emotional. Like, you could really connect to that scene. And for me, that's something that this film has. It has character, because like, it's what, comparing to the Marvel universe, there's just too many characters, and you like, sometimes you lose sight of who's in the film, because there's just so many moving parts. But this one, it's just more, the characters well developed, and even the supporting characters as well, they're well developed as well. And it's funny, I just literally was laughing from scene one, and the latter part was more dramatic, so it became like darker in tone. But the first and the second act was really funny. I was just laughing out loud, and I rarely laugh out loud in films. um I was just so entertained. It was just so entertaining, and especially with the dog and the babies. Who would have thought, like, you could even make that funny? And it really topped the scene in the X-Men. I think there's a Quicksilver scene, and that one is funny too, but this one is just, it tops it because of the level of, like, it's so ridiculous and it's so funny. And I'm pretty sure when they made this scene, they were like, how can we top that Quicksilver one, you know? Yeah, babies like dropping from the sky and a dog, and it's funny. And what I like about the film as well is the two Batmans. You really, I am a huge fan of Ben Affleck's Batman. I'm not a huge fan of his other films, but when he played Batman, I was like, really, why this dude? But when I saw his performance, is so good. And this one, although he appears just, for several minutes, he really owns the scenes. He's Batman. And my favorite, of course, is the Michael Keaton Batman. He's just hilarious, especially the kitchen scene where he's missing a slipper, or it was so funny. And then he was just trying to hit the two Barrys, but the other one would always get hit. The original Barry would always get hit because, of course, he can't escape because he doesn't have his powers. It was just so funny. It was like so hilarious. I was, oh, dude, like, I mean, who doesn't want to see Michael Keaton with long hair, like a hippie dude, as a really quirky, funny Batman. And I just went nuts when he said, let's get nuts, and when he also said, I'm Batman, that was so funny. And I knew that he had to do that, say that line. And, there's Kara, Supergirl. Like, we would have wanted to see Henry Cavill, but I think because of the role, that she dies in this film, it's just the few scenes that she's in, like, she steals the scene. She's really Supergirl, and she's badass as Supergirl. And I just felt so sad when Michael Keaton died and Supergirl died, because you got so connected to the characters in such a short time that they're on screen. You really connect with them. And when she died, I was like devastated. I'm like, dude, yeah, definitely turn back time and just save them. And then when Batman died, and he died and he died again, I was so devastated. I'm like, I don't want to see Michael Keaton die, but of course he dies in this film, because that's it. Like, that's the premise of the movie, is there are consequences when you try to change something that's makes you fundamentally so which is what Barry Allen did in this film, which is the lesson as well, is he's trying to change his past, but by changing his past, he destroys everything. He destroys his reason for being, and he destroys everything around him. And it's like so selfish as well, and it's all about like dealing with grief, having to let go, and also initially that selfishness of, yeah, why can't I have what I want? And this is just an amazing film. As I don't care what the critics say. They can blast the movie and like say like, oh, it's so bad, oh yeah, this is what happened. I don't care about that. As a fan of the DC films, the DC superhero films, which I must say is the template for all the superhero films. Superman, it started with Superman, it started with Batman. And to see them come to life again in this movie, that a movie that we just need, like, it has an emotional core in it. Although, I also saw the movie Spider-Man, and I was in for it. The three Spider-Mans, um that film, I it was missing, like, the core, which for me is, although I am a fan also of the current Spider-Man, it's just not like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, that it lacks a core. And this is something that the Flash has. So the Flash actually has a core. It has like that emotional core, which is, the reason why we watch those films anyway, those superhero films. And that is sadly been lacking in a lot of the Marvel films, that core, maybe except for Spider-Man, not Spider-Man, um, Iron Man. I mean, I'm talking about the MCU. It's maybe Iron Man, and that's it. Like the rest of it is just missing a core, and which is what DC is so good at. It just has that core, that core of like that emotional core. And I think I'm excited for the reboot of the whole DC EU, whatever they call it, when they realize that they should just go back to the core, like that emotional core, and just really make entertaining films, and just really make films that, not just fan service, but really a film for the fans, and a film that is at the heart of it, like has a message, especially for the fans as well. I think they will do well. They will really do well. And if they just look at their North Star and just be guided by that North Star, because they were the DC, with the Batman films with Christopher Nolan, they made like they made like $1 billion. That was one of the first films that hit that. The first superhero film actually that hit that landmark of $1 billion, and now it's like standard. So if they go back to that core, and just write a film for the audience that are DC fans like me, and if they write a film not for box office reasons, but just really write a good film for the DC fans, I think they're going to do well. And that's why I love The Flash so much. And it's an instant classic for me. This is an instant classic. I will watch this over and over and over and over again. And, it's go back to your core, the DC core, and excite the DC fans like me. And that's what I loved about here in this film. Andrew Muschietti, I think that's his name, the director. He just doesn't care. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna write a really badass. Like, I'm just gonna direct a really badass movie, and I'm just gonna have fun and just have fun. Don't think about the demographics. Like, oh, just do good filmmaking, like good storytelling, and that's it. Um, I may write more, like not write, but I'm gonna talk more about the subject maybe in the near future. But I really love this film, and if you are a DC film buff and you love the classic DC films, the superhero films, you will really love this movie, and it's worth it. It's really worth it. It's instant classic for me. And don't care about the reviewers, they don't know what they're talking about. Just you're just going to have a grand time. You're just going to be entertained. You're just going to be laughing, and it's amazing. It's an amazing film. I love it. I really love it. Thank you very much for watching.